I'm not joining TikTok.
You don't have to do it. It's the same content that'll go on Instagram.
Nah, I'm only calling you.
No, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's the same
yeah.
stuff for
Yeah,
the reels, so
yeah,
it'll work.
yeah.
It'll fine. Anyway, I'm not going to get in the way this time.
Let's do this. Welcome to Mad Notions.
Welcome.
Not just a podcast.
Not at all.
But an immersive audio-visual experience that has literally tens of users liking that smash button, the length and breadth of the social channels of the internet, even being described by one Daily Mirror newspaper columnist as surprisingly listenable. Do you remember that?
No.
For roughly the next hour, you'll find yourself cascading ever upward towards enlightenment, and to help you achieve nirvana, you'll be accompanied by two spirit guides. There's Mick, a man who often doesn't know where his sentences are going after the fourth word, and Nathan, a man who compensates for his poor vision with his silky smooth singing voice. Strap in, we're about to go nowhere fast. I really hope that didn't break. It looks alright. Looks alright.
It looked great in the edit, though. This guy doesn't give a fuck about his phone.
I actually need that.
Another good time to remind you that you can support our Patreon. So Mick can replace his phone screen, I guess.
This came... I saw this on Twitter just before it came out, and it really made me laugh. I might be pronouncing some of the names wrong there. It's footballer Radamel Falco on facing an opponent called Jose Gimenez. Said, I couldn't concentrate as Gimenez was driving me crazy. He asked me questions, like this is during the match, by the way. Yeah. He asked me questions like, what car do you have? When I was explaining it, he had already gone and was waiting to meet across. That was only the start. He asked me why the flag... I was like, I have a new favourite player. What sort of car do you have?
Can you imagine, like, in the corner box, and you're like all bustling and all, and he's like, what kind of mileage you getting on that?
It goes on. He asked me why the flags of Ecuador, Colombia and Venezuela have the same colours. Next, he came over to me and told me it was his debut and that he was very happy and he'd get a tattoo of the date of this match. So asked me if September had a P in it. I ended up missing the chance to jump for a cross. He drove me crazy. In that class.
I love that he started answering the first one.
I know what you're up to.
I forgot that he was playing a fucking full. What team was it? Do you remember what team it was? It was like a proper team. It wasn't like a Sunday league.
Falcao's pretty. Who's Falcao playing for now? I don't know who it is, but they're big teams. Like in that class, does September have a P in it? You would be like, hold on, what? And then next thing, just goal.
So
imagine trying to explain that to the gaffer in the fucking locker rooms after. Where were you, Falcao? He had acres of space, and I was trying to remember if September had a P in it.
I love. There's a YouTube channel that just shares clips. So the NFL, I think a lot of the American sports, I don't know if it's either like directional mics or they like mic some of the players. NHL is the hockey league is great for it as well, and they'll just share clips where you can like hear like the players chatting to each other and stuff, and it's fucking, some of it's really fucking good, some of the shit talking that goes on.
Oh really? Yeah.
The UFC there for a while, and they're actually still doing it at the minute, but so during the pandemic, because they couldn't have an audience, they built a facility in like Vegas or something called the Apex, and it's basically just a smaller venue essentially with limited seating, essentially just for like coaches and that sort of stuff. But it was fucking amazing. For a lot of people didn't really seem to. People were saying that they missed the crowd, but I actually preferred it because you can hear the fighters talking to each other, and you can also hear mostly you'd sometimes be able to hear like the coaches shouting at each other, like shouting at hit
him harder
at the fighters,
that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like kind of just like
knock his pan in.
The coaches are less interesting because a lot of them speak in code because they don't.
They don't want them.
They don't want to be like, take him down.
Yeah,
he's like, wait, I can hear you too. But sometimes they could hear commentators as well because the commentators are right at the edge of the thing, and like every panel would have like, there's like the main like ESPN guy, and then they have like the color commentators, I think they're called, are like ex-fighters. And so they're like talking like what they should be doing, and so like sometimes like but like there was one guy, Kevin Holland, at one stage during one of the fights was like saying in between rounds, he was like, "Thanks, man," and they were like, "Oh shit, they can hear us. We need to be quieter because they're like not supposed to be." But Kevin Holland is a guy. He's like a middleweight fighter. He's like on the rise at the minute. But the shit talking, man, is unreal. You just watch the fighter. Like he's really good at head movement. Like he's just a really hard guy to hit.
Yeah.
And but it's always like hands down. And I just imagine it's so demoralizing to be going through like whatever, like an 8-week fight camp to get prepared for a fight or whatever, and you've fucking got a game plan or whatever, and you're just trying to hit this guy, and you just never hit him, and he's saying things like, "Oh, you nearly had me there," and all that sort of stuff, and it's so rough, and you can see him getting really fucking riled up and all, and just, oh man, it's one of my favorite things.
Tell me, would you be a trash talker? I wouldn't have a comment.
No.
I think I'd be too worried about like fumbling my words. And then I'm like,
well, no, what I meant to say. No, no, I've seen two. It's the same reason that like if I'm ever by a lake and somebody says, well, there's a rope tied to this tree that goes over the lake, and why don't you swing off it into the lake? I've seen too many YouTube videos where it doesn't work out well for them. Or like, you know, if I'm ever at like someone's house and their kids after getting a new hoverboard, and like, do you want to take a video of me giving it a go for the first time? No, I don't. I'm okay. I'm fine, thanks.
Come here. I just remembered about seen a clip of, I don't know if you've seen, there's a lot of chat about it. It was a West Ham footballer. I can't remember his name now, but he was essentially, there was a video of him.
Heard about this.
I think he essentially drop kicked a kitten.
Yes.
And a load of uproar about it. I hadn't seen the video. Apparently it was awful anyway, but they're talking about it.
You're not supposed to touch the ball with your hands.
They're talking about it like the pundits are talking about it, and Graham Souness is there, and he says they're talking about the incident, and he's talking about it as if it's like post-match analysis. He goes like, "For me, that cat did nothing wrong." Like analysing the fucking interaction as if it was on the pitch. You know? That cat was clearly onside. There's no need for that. Like,
if it had been the BBC, you would have had Gary Lineker trying to make the argument that maybe in fact the cat had done something wrong, just for balance. I would go on good authority that cat was needing its nails on his sofa for the last 2 weeks, and he'd had enough. Was it his cat?
I don't know. I couldn't. To be honest, it's the sort of story I'm like, I'm not going to even read in that because it'll just upset me.
Just make you sad. Yeah. What the fuck? Like, yeah.
I know.
That's just absolute. I can't imagine a scenario being like a person of any note.
Yeah. Like, oh, hear him out. Let's see. He may have had his reasons.
Thinking that like you're not going to be captured like on film doing anything these days. Like so stupid. Like you just can't. The days of being allowed to kick a few cats are gone. I've always said it.
Sad times we live in.
Sad times indeed. Sad times. You had a story that I wanted you to read me that you said.
Oh yeah. Where is it? I'm fucking this phone around.
Just off down by the drum kit there, just picking it up.
Let me get it here and you can riff.
Because I had recently come across it myself, and like with most things on Reddit, I read the title and go, haha, and then talk about it like I know what the story is, but I don't actually know what the story is.
Well, this story that you wanted, that I thought was funny, was it's an article from The Guardian. It's Russian painting vandalised by bored gallery guard who drew eyes on it. So Anna Leporskaya's 3 figures sent for restoration after guard doodled on it with a ballpoint pen on his first day. Now, I have found myself bored a lot in my life, but to be that bored on your first day is like, that's fucking amazing.
So his job was, he was a guard?
He was a security guard. Let's find out. Let's find out here.
That's great. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Was it some timeless like what so
a valuable avant-garde painting has been vandalised by a bored security guard who drew eyes on faceless figures in the artwork on his first day working in a Russian gallery. They're like, right, here's your standard issue torch, and there's your badge. Oh, don't forget your pen as well. You'll need that. And he's like, pen? Right, that's how.
It's
Right.
like, you don't need to tell me.
Yeah, got it.
What am I, a fucking idiot?
Understood, sir.
What do you think? I don't know how to be a security guard?
So the painting was painted between 1932 and 34. Had been insured for $1.4 million. It was on display as part of an abstract art exhibition in the Boris Yeltsin Presidential Center when the guard drew eyes on it using a ballpoint pen. The executive director of the Yeltsin Center did not identify the security guard in a statement, but he said he had worked for a private security company and had already been fired.
You bet he has.
Yeah. His motives are still unknown, but the administration believes it was some kind of lapse in sanity. I mean, there's a built-in excuse there. It's my first day. How was I supposed to know that you weren't supposed to draw eyes on the...
That's one of those things where, like, the next time you're in an art gallery, there'll be a sign up that says, "Please don't draw eyes on, on the art." And you'd be like, why is that there? And they'd be like, well, you'd be surprised.
Well, they've declined to press charges as the damage was deemed insignificant.
What?
Yeah. I think they're able to take a couple of £1,000 to restore it. Like, but amazing.
That's unbelievable.
I would love to know. I would love to have seen. I'd love it if there's CCTV footage.
How long did he walk past it?
Yeah, and did he double take?
Was he scouting it?
Those cunts have no eyes. Well, they didn't hire me for nothing.
There's a tour coming in here soon, and they're going to be so upset. I'm
gonna have to do a sweep of the whole building.
Save the day.
I'm gonna have to do a sweep of this whole building, make sure everything has eyes on it.
They're like, "Jared, get down here!" And he's like,
"Why did I leave my googly eye stickers on the fridge this morning?"
He's like, "I'm probably about to get out. That's probably the quickest bonus they've ever handed out." Come down on smug and all. I assume by your urgency, you're coming down to applaud me. You want me here? Where's my cake? The amazing thing though that occurred to me when you were reading that is that I wonder, like, if that had been me as the what would you call it, like the operators of the gallery or whatever, it would have occurred to me at some point to maybe, if we just leave it, art people, maybe, like, so my experience, my limited experience of being in art gallery, I think I've only ever been in one, but the pressure to seem like I know what I'm talking about is so high that I imagine most people going through an art gallery might be like, "Oh, yeah," and I'd be kind of hedging my bets that enough people would try to say that they thought it was cool, or like didn't want to admit that they didn't know.
It was actually it was the alarm was raised by visitors. So
is that right?
Yeah, they knew there's something's not right here. Just caught in the act with his tongue out, like. Actually, just on
that, after fucking it up. What was that? Well, I fucked up the first attempt. I didn't want to leave it there like a fucking idiot. People think I can't draw fucking googly eyes.
This is going to sound really pretentious, but bringing back what we were talking about last week, I think a museum, it would be a nice place to go for a date. But I don't have the same.
I don't have the enthusiasm for it.
See, I don't have the same hang up that you do. I don't feel that way in a museum. I just don't understand most of the stuff that I'm looking at, but I enjoy walking around and like the vision, just like kind of the sensory attack on your senses.
Yeah.
Like you mightn't understand it, but it looks really striking and beautiful. And there's always a little bit of information there if you do want to get.
I enjoy museums.
Yeah.
I think, like your dad said once, did he not come out of some? Was what fucking art gallery was it again?
The Tate in London.
Yeah.
He nearly had a panic attack because he was so bored.
I think I'd be the same. I'd be so bored. I think. That's not fair.
I couldn't get out quick enough.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's one of those things where like I'd feel like I would be crap. I'd be crap. Like if you really, really loved art and then you brought me, the pressure to I think I would not understand the dynamic of an art gallery so much that I would feel like all the silence. I'd be like, is it my job to inject the crack here? And I would probably ruin your time. You know what I mean?
No, it's like there's nothing. There's no expectation. It's quiet because people are just milling around looking. Really,
yeah.
But museums and galleries, no, I love. I like if I'm away in a city somewhere, I like to kind of, if there's a nice gallery, I would go in. And I'm like, this is all over my head. But the Reina Sofia in Madrid has Picasso's Guernica, big, massive canvas of his really famous painting.
Amazing.
And it's unbelievable to see. And I'm like, it's so funny because you're like, when as a kid you see Picasso drawn, you're like, I could do that. That's shite, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not the.
It's not blue. Just like
again,
this.
it's not the technique or the craft. But even though there is technique and craft in that, but it might, I don't know. I'm waffling. Museum's great.
One of the things
don't draw on the paintings.
One of the things that really I remember like finding funny. I remember in history class when I remember like learning about the Renaissance and like the rapid advancement of like skill and technique and stuff like in the art and stuff like depth of field and things looking more 3D and all that sort of stuff, and like. I remember thinking, like, so the people who did those like really basic looking like 2D kind of really like, people don't really quite look like people sort of paintings, and they would have been regarded as like the great fucking artists of their time. Like, what would they have felt like to be like, I never thought of that. Like, just like it just hadn't occurred to them just to try the
when they see the new techniques, like fuck.
It was right there in front of me, just to try and make it look real. I could have just tried harder. I
just had a memory come back to me there of going to the Ulster Museum when we were about 14 in school, like an art trip. All the ones that were doing art, bus load up from Oma from the Christian Brothers. Biggest mistake the teachers ever did, because like your 14-year-old lads in a group are not interested in art. What they're interested in is filling the entire museum with farts, loud farts, to make it because they're hilarious.
Armpit farts.
I remember walking about and I like
Mona Lisa.
You could just see everybody with a Christian. I mean, that would have been better, but what the reality was, it was just lads letting rip as loudly as possible and laughing and running away, and the whole museum just full of these boys up from Oma, just filling it full of farts, ruining everybody's experience. In a way, it was performance art, so I feel like it had it was justified.
There's nothing that makes me realize how much older I'm after getting than how short I get with sassy kids out and about. Do you get confronted much now with like a kid just throwing a wee jibe at you, like the odd time? Do you ever get that?
In Belfast, I mean, Belfast children are notorious bastards.
So are the Bangor ones, man. I have found a nice. I'm not even going to name it because I don't want you all to find out where it is and then think it would be a nice place for you to bring your dogs. I'm selfish that way, but I found a kind of a little, not secluded. It's not even unknown. It's just nobody seems to go there. Patch of green in Bangor, where I bring the dogs. But it's I guess it's like on the path home for a few folks. And I stopped in the other day. I was on the way back from the beach with the dogs, and I'd gone in through Bangor, and just whatever way I was going, schools were getting out and the traffic was mad, and I was like, you know what, instead of sitting with two dogs panting and fogging up my back window in the back for half an hour for what should take 5 minutes, I'm just going to pull in here and fucking throw the ball around for a bit and let it pass. And I was just chucking a ball about, and there was this wee fucker like with a rucksack on, but he was I don't know, must have been 13, maybe 14 sort of age. And he was walking with like a girl, obviously trying to impress her, and like, but just the crappiest jabs, just like at one point, like as if trying to be funny. I was just throwing the ball out, just paying him any attention, like, and he was just like, oh, nice dogs, mate.
Thank you.
But so I was just like, thanks very much, cheers. And he was like, fucking fetch. And I was just like, that was really good, man, thanks. And he was like, I was like, you want to write that down? I was like, fucking, you want to save it on all your best ones, like, here, get them all up for next time, get a real tight 5 on how to hassle dog walkers. It's really, really strong stuff. I was like, did you come up with that yourself? And he was just like piss off, man, will you? You fucking idiot. I remember once, this is one of the fucking most ridiculous. It's become like a quote now, like almost like a movie reference that me and my mate Chris fucking recall to each other like some classic line of a film now, but I remember standing outside Little Wing in Bangor once with my mate Chris, and our mate Nathan was with us as well, and he was like one of the first among us to get on the vaping train, you know, and and there was just a group of young fellas walking towards us, and one of them just shouts, he's like, Jimmy, fucking help me, he's vaping. Look at him, he's vaping. Just screaming. And I was just like, do you need turned off and on again? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I just couldn't understand. Like, the fucking, I don't, were you and your mates like that? I had mates that like, I'm trying to think. I had mates that were like a bit like that, but I think I was enough of a curmudgeon even at a young age.
Yeah.
That when my mates did it, I was like, fuck off, man, shut the fuck up.
I don't think I had, a group of notorious soft boys. I'd say Philly might have been. Philly used to get himself into wild fucking the whole time, get himself into wild baller just by like running his mouth for the crack.
Yeah.
He still does.
Yeah, you know he gets paid really well for it. Exceptionally well.
I am going to tell a story now about Philly, and I'll ask him afterwards if we can keep it in. Okay. So Philly,
we can always edit it out after at the end of the podcast if he wants.
Yeah, that's
it's no problem.
He got stranded in Tenerife there with COVID. He was stuck in his hotel for like a whole week. Okay. So he's like, I edited his plan. He's like, I'm going to go out. I'm going to book a couple of days and just get the head showered away. I'll take the laptop out and I'll do whatever I need to do.
I'll get my lap out.
And he, so he met up with a guy that he knows, went to his Ma's restaurant, all hung out with him, then went to a water park by himself. And which I thought was just hilarious on his own. Yeah. But the next day, after he'd been to the water park by himself, he got COVID, or he tested positive for COVID. Okay. And he was rang me and he's like, I've got fucking COVID here. And first of all, I was pissing myself laughing that he went to the water park. Yeah. He told me by himself. Just the thought of him.
Where'd you get it?
Yeah. And I was like, I was winding him. I was like, you need to ring that water park. You need to ring the water park and tell them that, you know, the lad that was there by himself yesterday, he has COVID and the whole water's probably tainted. And he was like, do you think I should ring them? And I was like, oh, definitely, you need to definitely ring them. And he was like, yeah, no, I'll go ring them now. And I was like, I'm only fucking taking the hand in you. I don't know, maybe you should have rang them, but I feel like...
No, maybe a year ago. Nah, he's grand. You're safe enough. You're safe enough.
I love it.
I can't imagine anyone less suited to being in a water park on their own than Philly, just like big pasty white white fucking. See, the thing is, white quiff on him.
Like Philly will make friends and chat to anybody. Like he would go to a water park by himself, and I know actually I've left a bit out that's not suitable for the podcast, but let's just say he left with a few new friends before that he had also had to contact and tell because while he was queuing up for the ride, he got chatting to the people behind him. Then he realised that he couldn't go down the ride by himself. It was like a group thing, so he had to go down on the tire, like a big tire dinghy thing with this family. And he ended up he ended up making mates with him. And
Did he buy the mug after?
What?
Like the merch, you know? Just
you know, like the photo, you know, the photo finish of him coming down the lawn.
That would be an amazing investment, to go to a fucking theme park and try to get on as many rides as you can as the you know, the guy making up the numbers for the allotted amount of seats in as many other people's groups as you possibly can. You know what I mean? And just buying all the merch after.
He had to ring them, that family that he was on the fucking rubber ring with. You know that guy who went down the rubber ring?
Do you remember me yesterday?
I was there by myself. I have COVID. I'm allowed to laugh at it. I asked him, I was like, can I laugh about this? He goes, not until I've landed back in Ireland are you allowed to properly laugh about it. And he's back now, and so it's all above board.
Do you remember me yesterday? From the tire? No, you do remember. Radio 1 presenter. Do you remember? I was telling you, I'm booking all, remember? Yeah. Well, I've infected your whole family.
Well, they actually said to him, when he rang them and told him, they said, it's all a load of balls anyway, and then recommended him a pub to go and get a stew to sort himself out.
out and about with the COVID and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
It's
where
fine,
he,
you just
that's
don't have to
probably
tell
where he
anyone.
got it.
Yeah.
That class, water park by yourself. Love that, man.
You'd strike me now as someone quite comfortable in your own skin enough to go and do things on your own.
I would go maybe not a water park by myself. That sounds
Cinema?
kind of boring. Cinema,
Yeah.
good few
You really
times.
prefer
Yeah. Well, to me, the cinema is a no-brainer. Like, because if you go with someone, like I went to the cinema at the weekend with my cousin Kelly. We went to see Jackass 4. It was deadly. Had a couple of pints beforehand.
How was it?
Lethal.
With the boys in
Can I
Zimmer
fucking
frames?
realised, right? I went from never thinking about Jackass in well over a decade to just becoming aware that the fourth one was coming out and seeing Johnny Knoxville's name trending on Twitter. I was like, right, he's either died or been cancelled, as said something. But it was actually the opposite. I was like, holy fuck. One, there's a massive amount of love for Johnny Knoxville as an all-round entertainer. Two, I didn't know this at the time, but apparently there has been a huge kind of following in the queer community, in some parts of the queer community, for Jackass as a franchise and those guys. And I was like, why is that? And then I was just kind of reading about it and reading people's takes on it. And I read an article about it and I was like, well, Jackass is like, from its very inception, was a good example of, for want of a better phrase, non-toxic masculinity. He's like, it's a group of lads who you can tell who all really like each other, who are all really fond of each other and encourage each other to laugh at themselves and be vulnerable and obviously take massive pot shots to the cock while doing it. But I was like, yeah, fucking
literal actual pots.
yeah. So I was like, I never thought about that. That's really interesting. And I was like, fuck, I'm gonna go watch the film, because I was the perfect age for Jackass. I was like 12, 13 when it came out. But what happened was, by the time I
wasn't
hit,
allowed to watch stay up that late.
well, me and my dad used to watch it. Yeah. But what happened was, when I hit like 14 or 15, that's when I started getting into music. And you're really you're in the throes of puberty at that stage. Like, Jackass is so for kids, it's juvenile. Mm-hmm. But I watched it, so I decided I was going to watch.
What, am I 13?
Yeah, no, I'm 14 now. I've lived that whole life. But I decided to watch the third one the night before. And I, honest to God,
just in case there was any references to the next one.
Catch up on the plot. But honest to God, from like the first 10 seconds, I was pissing myself laughing. I was like, I remember, I absolutely love this. Yeah. And for a man who likes to think of himself as having a bit of a, like, I like to think of
notions.
Yeah, notions that all the art I consume is worthy, and
Yeah.
But I have so much love for Jackass. It's just so funny.
Yeah.
And the fourth one was just, I was like, these guys are now in there. Like, they're kind of.
Were they all, obviously, a couple have died and stuff. But
yeah, Ryan Dunn's died.
Bam
was supposed to be there. He didn't make it because I don't think he could. The chat is he couldn't stay sober for it. But it's the majority of the original crew, plus kind of handing over to the new guys because they're all getting old. And let me tell you, for 4 films in, and Johnny Knoxville is still getting absolutely emptied by a bull as one of their big pieces. And I'm like, this is hilarious. But it's also really like he's
trying to get insurance for
well, that's it. I think they've always had issues with that. But he gets fucking emptied by a bull, and I mean, there's a 50-year-old man does a couple of flips in midair and lands on his head and neck, and I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ. Because I remember thinking when I was a kid, I was always like, Bam is the cool one, Bam is the skateboard.
Yeah.
He's the guy you want to be, and Steve-O's the mad one. But like Johnny, your man Johnny Knoxville is like, he's a suitable ringleader. He has that old ringleader feel to him. He's keeping
like
the whole
he's
thing.
like the circus master.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. But I would definitely
Hugh Jackman.
I would
of the group.
I would recommend anybody going with it and just enjoy it.
Do you
for
know the people
what
that
it
I
is?
felt the worst for anytime I ever watched Jackass? Like, so the characters in Jackass that I would like to be the least, all things considered, genuinely, is Bam's parents.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I know.
Just being like, oh, please let me sleep.
I know.
And stop coming in with fucking all the, like, I've recently like delved like a little bit further into like TikTok, just like at a loose end, just as a thing that I used to pass the time. And there was one fella came up with my, just in whatever random order, and he was like, basically the whole thing is like, I can't remember, it was like bad jokes or something, but like it are incredibly inappropriate stuff, and like acting out as characters to his mum. And like I was laughing away, and then I remember just going like, what a dose he'd be to be around. Like, can you imagine what
Yeah.
a dose that would be to be around? Like,
Yeah.
I don't have too many friends that are that bad with it, like, but that constant, like, there is one person that I know in my life who I'm very fond of, but just the odd time, just be like, you know, you just realize that there's a fucking phone facing you, and you're like,
I get himself. Mr. Waterpark is a fiend for when
Yeah.
like trying to catch you on the hop.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, it's just like fucking really annoying, like to be around. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like kind of going like, but yeah, I mean, the Bam Margera's parents were the OGs for that radio.
I'm sure they were handsomely fucking remunerated
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
their
Like,
house looked okay. Like,
Yeah.
to be fair, yeah, a couple of,
despite him wrecking it.
yeah, a couple of seasons in, they
Yeah.
looked like they were after making some sort of an arrangement.
Let him wreck it. Will it mean a new renovation?
yeah. No, MTV are going to pay for it. Don't worry.
But yeah, no, watch it. Watch it. I mean, if you're going to watch any Jackass, I think the third one, Jackass 3D, is good because there's just so much slow motion, high def
Yeah,
hilarity. Like,
yeah. That's what actually. Sorry, just on a slow mo high def thing. One of my favorite YouTube rabbit holes I ever went on was finding the slow mo guys. Do you ever see that on YouTube? I'm not going to go into it. It's just people that blow shit up in slow motion.
Oh, yeah.
Incredibly
I've
high
seen
frame
that.
rate.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very satisfying. I have some delicious content for you.
Hook it to my veins.
There's one that I was reminded of just while you were writing your intro there. That is just a little quick one that I really, really enjoyed. Saved this ages ago. So on Reddit today, I learned a bridge in Ireland was designed to swing open for ships couldn't be open for 4 years because someone lost the remote.
I think I've heard about this.
And so the lack of funding meant the reprogramming couldn't happen until recently. How much did it cost, you ask? €1,800.
Are you fucking serious?
And I love there's just a big picture of Bertie Ahern.
Where's the bridge? I've definitely heard about that. The lost remote.
I just took a screenshot.
I'd love to know where
of
the
thing.
remote was.
I'll send you the thing. It's
Or did they find the remote, or did they just reprogram
I
it?
think I should have clicked on it, but I just as evidenced, as I referenced earlier, I often just go, "Ha, that's funny," and don't actually read
Yeah.
the thing. But yeah, I just thought that was the most Irish thing
It
I've
is. It's very.
ever heard of. And then bollocks, went the wrong way. Oh, I just realized I'm sideways. And then I saw this, sorry, and it just made me laugh because of just how painfully accurate it is. But so somebody goes, does anyone else think that the radio stations are so cringe-inducing? I was listening to FM 104 this morning as I forgot my aux for Spotify. They done a little rap part, which was bad enough itself. When they start shouting, the cracks on this screen make it very difficult.
Well, I warned you.
Sorry. Oh, and it's fucking gone now.
Good, because start again, because I momentarily zoned out.
That's fair. Let me see. Right, okay. So the setup for this isn't the thing, but the comment under it is why I'm reading this. Does anyone else think that the radio stations are so cringe-inducing? I was listening this morning to FM 104 as I forgot my aux cable for Spotify. They done a little rap part which was bad enough itself. Then they start shouting up the flats, which I don't get the reference.
Gemma Dunleavy is in like a hip hop R&B artist from Dublin who has a song called Up the Flats. It's
Right.
pretty fucking good.
Okay.
I think that's her name, Gemma Dunleavy. I think so.
It says that's something you'd say to your mates when you were a child. Anyway, it was the final blow. I had to turn the radio off and drive in silence. And then somebody goes, as if they were the presenters. Good question coming from Reddit. Are we annoying? Text 54104 and let us know. I know, guys, it's fast approaching 9 a.m. with the news and weather, but let's first get a special 4-song power through. 4-song power through brought to you by O'Mahony's and Sons. Ham for all the fam. Really, some people really nailed it in the fucking comments just for like the vibe.
Yeah.
Just so good. Anyway, I have writing prompts for you.
Go for it. Let's do it.
So I have two. One.
Sorry, before you start.
Yes.
Never mind. I see it.
Yes.
I was going to ask you about that.
One of them, if you pick it, you're going to need this information.
Right.
So I just thought it'd be good to have to hand.
Okay.
So let me see. There's only 4. I need to. Where?
We can
Got it.
this down.
Yeah. So I'll just give you a choice of 2.
Okay. I guess I need to take some notes here.
In fact. Oh, there's some really good ones here, actually. I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of myself. So, okay. At age 15,
Okay.
you told the girlfriend you were in love with that you'd always be there whenever she was in need.
Okay.
Aphrodite heard you and made it a reality. Whenever your girlfriend was in need, you appear at her side. Problem is, you and the girl broke up after 3 weeks, but you still appear even now, 10 years later.
That's good.
Okay, that's one.
let me just make that down. Let me just write that down. Sorry.
Couple of notes. We can edit it out.
Sorry, what was the very last bit? We broke up, and this is 10 years later, did you say?
Problem is, you and the girl broke up after 3 weeks, but you still appear even now, 10 years later.
Right. Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay, go ahead with the next one.
So the second one, which you may need these for, is as Pride Month nears its end, the other 6 members of the 7 deadly sins begin to wonder when they'll get months dedicated to them.
Right.
Pride, meanwhile, is just trying to get them to understand that he's not actually the focus of Pride Month.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Which I think is great.
Okay.
Built-in characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want a reminder of what the 7 deadly sins are? Do you want me to read them out even first, just for the benefit of
I think. Well, I think. You know what? I think
Okay.
the first one.
Okay.
I think the first one has more potential.
Okay. Yeah, I like
think-
that as well.
So, you're going to be in the superhero genre. I think you have a chance to do a crossover here, like a rom. Well, I'm sure it exists.
Superhero genre? Is it?
Yeah, because you have a superpower essentially. Like,
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah,
You
okay,
know,
fair.
like so that in that sort of world. I'm sure it exists, but is there a rom-com superhero movie?
Deadpool, kind of.
Deadpool, isn't there one like with Uma Thurman? Isn't she like a superhero, like my superhero ex girlfriend or something like that?
Oh, no, but there is. What's the one with the incredibly dull deadpan guy who was in every movie for a while? And it was like a comic booky thing, and that was like kind of a rom com.
Who is that? Who?
The guy, what's the guy that's in Juno, and he's in Superbad? Is he in Superbad as well? You know, the guy that just everything is just like this, and he's in Arrested Development. He's the son.
Jason Bateman.
No, the son. His
Michael Cera.
son.
Yeah.
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 He's in one that's like a comic booky thing. Isn't
Oh, not Kick-Ass.
that's,
Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim.
That's
versus the World.
rom-com in it.
It's kind of. It's
Ish.
not rom-commy,
Yeah.
but it's like.
Has a romantic element.
Yeah,
I get the difference. Yeah, sorry. Trying to think. I think Deadpool is the closest
Yeah.
that rides it.
Well, I think I think the first act is discovering the power, and everything's all right. Everything is good. Everything is good between you and the girlfriend.
Okay.
And then I think so. We'll call him Nathan
Fair.
and Mags.
Fair.
No, we don't have to do that. But so I think you would start off. You would the discovery of the power. No, everything is sweet. Everything is really good in the relationship. The relationship is perfectly healthy. And then there's this.
And you're 15.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all very teenage romance, sweet. And then things start to go awry when the power is discovered. And then 10 years later, or no, you break up.
Is it the power is why they break up, or is that what you mean? Sorry.
It's just causing strain, Nathan.
Right.
'Cause he's like, I was in the middle of something.
Right.
I was playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, just I need backup. On your fucking headset, no.
Like, I haven't had a minute to myself all week. And I sit down and play Call of Duty with the lads, and next thing I'm transported by your side. Because what? You can't find your shoe? That's not distress, Mags.
I thought you meant that it's even better. Sorry, okay.
Why would...
I thought you meant the other way, like she's playing Call of
All
Duty.
right. Oh, I need backup.
You just arrived. Getting really stressed out about the use of the phrase "I need."
That's what causes the friction. So they have this wee seat. Whether or not she is deliberately saying "I need" when she doesn't need, or she gets too used to the power and has him at everyone, and then that causes friction, and they break up. We go 10 years later. He's never been transported back again. They go their separate ways.
She's
so,
presumably learned how to stop using the phrase "I need."
yeah, and went for "I want."
The loophole.
So what happens then? I reckon 10 years later, he's in the middle of something, and next thing he's transported back to her side, and she's in genuine peril.
Okay. Good.
Saves her that time, but he's like, no, we're going to, they have a, he's like, I didn't want to do this. He said, I didn't even mean to summon you. I just said I need help because I was tied to this chair and some fucking guy's pouring petrol around me or something. I don't know what she's caught up in, Nathan.
She's caught up. She's a damsel in distress.
Yeah. And he comes and stays and he's like, right, that's this was that was a freebie. We're good. It didn't work out when we were 15. It's not going to work out when we're 25. But their worlds get tied closer together and they keep just kind of bumping it. The more she hasn't fully escaped whatever peril it is.
Right.
And he keeps coming back, and then the journey is them rekindling their romance and find out that they don't actually dislike each other, that they're falling for each other, and what will happen is they will fall out around, I'd say 2/3 of the way in the movie. They will fall out, and there'll be like he'll be moping around, walking down the streets, and the neon signs passing him, smooth jazz, and he's all like
David Gray playing.
And something will happen where he'll realize that she is in danger, but she doesn't summon him.
Okay.
But he goes anyway. He finds her, and he finds her, and he saves her from danger without the need of without her summoning him. A true display of his love. And in that moment, he realizes that he actually loves the superpower and he wants to be the guardian. And he does save her. And they do get back to playing Call of Duty.
I can see now why your pens don't work. Just the nib.
So that's the arc anyway. That's the general kind of very first draft arc.
I like it. I like it. Okay. I thought that the route that you would have went, just as my first guess of it, was that the breakup was really bitter and she was just leveraging the knowledge that he would have to, he would appear, and she was just trying.
That is an absolutely that happens. That can be in the first. That's maybe second act. That's
right.
That's definitely. I mean, possibly in the first
kind of
act.
A boy who cried wolf sort
yeah,
of
yeah,
situation.
Yeah. That's when the powers are being abused.
Really passive aggressive.
Yeah,
just
like it's.
I need milk.
Him in the middle of his driving exam, next thing just vroom, he's in the shop.
Car fucking careers off.
You just killed my driving instructor for milk. You're the villain in this piece. You actually, there's a different angle to go with it. Well, no, actually, I don't know if that would actually follow through.
The classic driving instructor arc.
I was going to say have her as the villain and him as the hero, and she's using. But then it's too easy just to lure the villain in. Just going, I need the villain here to kill.
Yeah.
What was the second one? Pride Month.
So, do you want me to
So are these? Read it again there.
I'll read it again, right? So, all right.
I'm trying to think of a name for this current one now. So I am. I think if you want to go down full rom-com on it, you call it Needs and Wants. And the two characters are Nathan Wants and Margaret Needs, and that's their surnames.
Yeah. I have a folder in my computer called Margaret Needs, but so the second one was, as Pride Month nears its end, the other 6 members of the 7 deadly sins begin to wonder when they'll get months dedicated to them. Pride, meanwhile, is just trying to get them to understand that he's not actually the focus of Pride Month.
So are these personifications of the 7 deadly sins?
So
or
I guess
person?
they're like the angels of. So
Pride sounds fairly humble, in my opinion. There,
but you have to bear in mind what he's putting, the sorts of people that he has to keep company with: lust, gluttony, envy, wrath, and sloth. And
Yeah, I'm out. I'm tapped out.
and
I can't
trying to
think.
I feel like that would be a good one, but I would imagine you'd need time.
Yeah, you need to flesh it because if you're going to personify all the 7 deadly sins,
Yeah.
you really want to have fully formed characters
Yeah.
who embody all those.
Yeah.
You would have a lot of crack with that, actually.
Yes, I would.
You know?
Yeah, I think so. Do you know
And
what I think?
Lust in particular,
you know-
he seems ripe for character.
Do you know what I think that might be a home run for? Is the live show to script it out and
Yes.
and get audience members to be the.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, let's do that. I'm up for that.
Either audience members or maybe some of them are guests that just come up for it or
Yeah.
something like. But like
Yeah.
a table read.
Let's do that. Let's do a table read.
I think that'd be a great table read. Yeah. There's a couple more which I think are good, but I'm happy to save them
Cool.
for next time.
Well, Wants versus Needs is going to smash the fucking opening weekend, I think.
Absolutely.
Just have to get the right casting.
I feel like that's a thing that I would love to. I think like as a premise, I feel like that I would love to see that. I think it's ripe for all the, the second act shenanigans.
So if I'm going to be critical, I think her is it her superpower or his superpower?
So if I'm right in my memory of it, which I could easily bring up, but let's not bother.
So her ability to summon essentially him.
It's not. She doesn't. I don't think she's even necessarily aware. She obviously becomes aware, but she's
Sorry,
not.
that's a good thing for her. Not maybe that's a better start to the film for her not to be aware.
But he's just always there,
and he's trying to keep it secret because he's like, I don't want to seem like a bit of a fucking creep here.
The thing is that he promises her when they're 15 and in love that he'll always be there for her whenever she needs him.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the is it the god of love or goddess of love Aphrodite overhears it and makes it a reality. But it's like without him knowing, so it's like almost like a Freaky Friday sort of
right.
thing.
So
it just happens to him.
Yeah, so he'll have to grapple with
he
it.
hasn't asked for it. She doesn't know it's happening. And then there's obviously the first few times when like he's appeared in like a street or something.
Yeah, he's gonna have
he
to.
doesn't know why he's there.
And he'll have to quickly save face and make up an excuse.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they break up. She thinks he's like a stalker.
Yes,
because she keeps like just happen to use the phrase like I need, and he's just always there. Just like just with a fucking 2 liters of milk, you're like, there you are. It's like I was just saying I needed that.
It's good. It reminded me of Twilight when the cars, the big fucking trucks coming rattling towards Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson as the 900-year-old vampire or whatever, who's still in high school. Runs and saves her from getting absolutely flattened by this truck, and the whole school car park sees it, and nobody says fucking anything. And like, also, he's been in the school for years. He's been 16 for. Don't get me started.
Yeah. Oh, fucking plenty holes with Twilight. Another possible angle on it as well is like what's that Rick and Morty, the Meeseeks route, where he can't return to what he was doing until he fulfills the thing, no matter what it is. And I think the more mundane the thing that she has said that she needs, or maybe situationally embarrassing the things she says she needs, he can't go back until he's completed the thing, which I think raises the stakes for the inevitable
does, and it also
hostage
it gives her more power in the dynamic.
Yes.
Which is always good for conflict then.
Yeah, which is and also good for the years later abuse of the knowledge that he'll come. So I think
we're on that winner here, Nathan.
I think so. Yeah. That would actually be a fun thing to do for the live ones in the future, is like some of the ones that we feel better about in hindsight.
Flamin' Eamon.
Flamin' Eamon. Or Tamin' Eamon. It's not Flamin' Eamon.
Yeah, Tamin' Eamon.
Flamin' Eamon.
Tamin' Eamon, that's right.
make them into table reads.
Yeah.
And then I think that'll be a really fun.
Yeah, no, I'm up for that. I
think that'll be really good. But yes. I like that though.
Yeah.
I think
Wants and Needs is a working title.
Wants and Needs.
Do you know what? If we can clear the rights to it, I need a hero for a big action sequence a la Shrek 2. Do you not remember the Shrek 2 amazing action sequence to, is it Bonnie Tyler? I Need a Hero? Who sings that?
That's the first one.
Yeah. Is it the first one?
It's the when he first meets Lord Farquaad, and then he has to.
And he
go
storms
through
the castle.
He has to go through the gauntlet. Are you on about the one?
No, I'm on about the second one where he storms the castle on the giant gingerbread man, and the fairy godmother is singing "I Need a Hero." It's a fucking brilliant.
That is the
It's
second
so
one.
much fun. It's a great.
Yes.
It's a wild lot of fun. That whole.
How many Shreks? There's like 4.
I don't know.
5.
Yeah.
Should have got off that train for sure.
Do you know there's a really, really, really weird. Like I'm actually not. I probably shouldn't even start talking about it because I've only scratched the surface of this like Shrek subculture of like ironic and sincere love of Shrek as a film. Because you know what, I'll put a pin on that for the next time, and I'll do my research.
Someone listening.
Because it's so
somebody listening just went.
sorry. Because it's so odd and so strange, and I went into a rabbit hole of it, and I was like, this is so fucking bizarre.
Somebody's got to be fucking in green paint.
There is, yeah. I get.
I need no convincing of that.
A comedian that I follow. She does a lot of podcasts and stuff. It was actually her article that she wrote because she was one of the. She describes herself as a figurehead in the early kind of Shrek core movement of the internet. It's really funny, but like she sold a few nudes of her painted green as Shrek,
right?
Like printed nudes, like not available online. But she was. I can't.
As Fiona, I presume.
I don't know. I don't know. As I say. Next week I'll have more.
Absolutely marvelous, class. Yeah. Lovely. We've got.
We've learned from experience that 2 is the optimum. Yeah, 3 we run out of steam with about 20 minutes to go.
Absolutely. I had a thought for those episodes. Within all of them, I think there has been good moments. It's generally like the last 20-25 minutes that we really are like and
clock watching.
Yeah. I think we could it could be an idea to continue to try, not today because we don't have time, but we continue to try the thirds and then just cut together an episode every now and again of just the bits from that. Yeah. And worst case scenario, we have a full third episode that we didn't need to cut parts out of, but it might still be a good use of our time.
I'm up for that.
But
yeah, we don't have time tonight because Beauty Sleep are coming in here to do a bit of rehearsing.
Absolutely, yeah. They have their gig on Friday, which will have been about 3 months ago.
I was out filming a video. Help them. Sorry, I was out helping them while they shot a music video during the week.
Yeah, you were saying
at the docks, which is why I bought this nifty little number. Possibly the most sensible purchase I've ever made. Remember, I rang you and I was like, Nathan, I'm thinking about getting some thermals here for. I was on my way in to
I love
buy.
how you framed this as a sensible purchase, and then in your description of why it's sensible, you're about to uncover that it was.
It wasn't even.
It wasn't. You still haven't ticked the box of what you needed to buy when you. So you haven't actually accomplished anything. But please proceed.
So I was walking. I was like, right, I know I'm doing this tonight, and it's down near the docks, so it's going to be fucking cold. I need to make sure that I'm warm. And I was like, Jesus, I'm wild cold this last wee while because the fucking studio's cold. I'll get some thermals. I remember when I was doing extra work on Game of Thrones, I had thermals on, and they really made a difference.
Yeah.
So I went in and I couldn't find. I rang you and said, "Did you want me to pick you up a pair for a recording?"
Which I didn't wear mine actually. Yeah.
Well, I didn't even get any because I got distracted by this coat, and I was like, "That's what I need." That's a
jacket that I can take off when I'm cold during the podcast.
No, but I was like, this is the sort of. I remember when I landed down for the first day of filming the pilot. I landed down in a denim jacket and like just a hoodie underneath it, and it was in December and I was freezing. And all the crew and the actors all had fleece lined stuff like that there, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy that jacket. It's half price. That's dressing for the job you want there,
but not the job you have apparently, because apparently you can't wear it. While you're
I don't want to be wearing it like this.
So you've done the fashion.
I got distracted.
You've done the fashion equivalent of stopping in to put diesel in the car, and then you've not had enough to drive home, and you've walked home to Orla, and you've said, I stopped in for diesel, but they had an offer on for toilet roll, and I have that now instead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
She's like, "Where's the car?" And you're like, "Oh no, it's back at the garage. Sure, I had no diesel."
You can't wipe your arse with the car.
That's why I stopped. That's why I stopped in for diesel, because aren't we lucky? Or I wouldn't have had this, or I wouldn't have been able to pick up this amazing deal on toilet roll. So you went in and spent, how much was the jacket?
40 quid.
So great purchase, lovely jacket. You're still freezing, and you obviously decided at some point that you don't think you should wear that while doing the podcast.
Yeah.
So you spent money on something that keeps you warm, but something that can't keep you warm for the thing that you needed to warm up for, which was this podcast, and it's now on the floor keeping the carpet warm. while you sit here and shiver.
Nathan, you got
Long
it.
Johnless.
Nathan, you got it in one. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But it was good. I have to.
Are you now going to, I assume at some point,
That's fucking mid-February now. Fuck the thermals. We've gotten this far, you know.
fuck, I don't know, I could definitely, I lent into, I did a bit of clothes shopping the other day.
Yeah, I admired that lovely T-shirt that you came in wearing.
Also
Thought
a
it
new
was-
cardigan.
I didn't notice that. Looks very like the old cardigan. What do we call it there, boy? Or,
Sure, no.